This week on Waterways, banding migrating raptors and tagging bull sharks. Each fall, millions of birds, including many raptors, migrate south to their wintering grounds. Geographic features influence the route that these migrating birds travel. Mountain ranges and large bodies of water can funnel raptors into relatively narrow pathways. Each year, as many as 25,000 raptors migrate through the Florida Keys. Hawkwatch International's Florida Keys Raptor Migration Project has been monitoring populations of migrating raptors since 1998. The term raptor refers to all hawks, eagles, falcons, and owls. Along with observing over 50,000 raptors, the Florida Keys Raptor Migration Project has banded nearly 1,200. To band these birds of prey, they have to be caught first. Casey Lott, director of the Raptor Migration Project, has had much success catching raptors.
So you're standing in the middle of really good raptor foraging habitat. It's not a lot of places in the Keys with open fields like this, and particularly the merlins that migrate through the Keys love to perch on a large tree like this dead Australian pine up here, look out over an open area and scanning for prey. So we get a lot of raptors that come in and hunt in this field. Ooh, there's one right now.
Casey and his team set up lures in the field to attract the raptors. These lures can be manipulated from camouflage banding stations located in the corner of the field. The banding station is set up each year in September at Curry Hammock State Park, just north of Marathon, and is removed in November when the raptor migration is complete.
All right, so the raptors that are foraging in this field will look and see our lures and fly towards them. And hopefully, as they go towards them, they end up in the net and are captured in this net, which they won't see. You can see that if there's a background of the ground or vegetation behind the net, it's really difficult to see. But if you bend down and you're looking up at the sky, it's a lot easier to see. Lucky for us, most of the raptors are flying pretty high, and then when they look down towards the lure, they see the background of the ground and they end up coming into the net.
Another method for catching raptors is the bow net.
So this is a bow net, and bow nets have been around since the Middle Ages. They're invented by falconers, and they're spring-loaded. See, there's 2 springs here, 2 springs here, and there's just a little hook over this bar holding it open. So if a raptor were to come in and grab the prey, we'd bring both the lure bird and the raptor to the center of the bow net here and pull this trigger, and it would go over the raptor.
When the nets are in place, Casey and his staff wait in a camouflage blind and quietly watch the skies.
So this is a peregrine falcon in this mist net, and they have pretty formidable talons. This is the first adult that we've caught this year.
Hawkwatch International is responsible for the project, with Audubon of Florida and Curry Hammock State Park lending support.
Well, this is an adult peregrine falcon. You can tell it's an adult by the sort of big white upper breast and throat and this horizontal grayish barring on the breast. Adult peregrines also have beautiful bluish gray backs. This actually, fix this a little. This is actually a second-year bird. It's in the second year of its life, and I can tell that because some of these feathers that I'm looking at are reddish brown. Those are juvenile feathers. So it's replaced most of its feathers with adult bluish gray feathers, but some of them are still retained juvenile feathers.
Hawkwatch International conducts the largest standardized migration count and banding network in the world. The program is designed to document long-term regional population trends and yield essential information on raptor flyways, health, and habitat use. In 16 years, Hawkwatch has banded more than 50,000 raptors in North America.
The can is a helpful restraining device. As with a lot of birds, when it's dark, they tend to be calmer. Some of them will even fall asleep in the can. It also restrains their wings, and it allows me to put her on the scale here.
Casey and others band and measure every raptor caught. A feather sample is carefully taken from each raptor. When funds are available, the feathers can be brought to the lab, and the stable hydrogen isotopes in the feathers are measured. Since this elemental ratio differs between regions, the researchers are then able to determine where the birds are migrating from. All this information is essential in protecting raptors. Along with body weight, length, and wing size, Casey measures the rear claw, called the hallux. Female raptors are larger than their male counterparts. This is called reverse sexual size dimorphism.
The main reason we're here is to collect our count data and to see long-term trends in numbers of raptors that migrate past this site. So if we do a count for 15 years and we see an average of 5,000 sharp-shinned hawks in the first 3 years, and then 4,000 in the next 3 years, and 3,000, over time we see a decline in sharp-shinned hawks, we know that sharp-shinned populations are in trouble. But what we don't know just from doing the count is where the birds are coming from. What are the source populations that may be in decline? So by banding or by doing stable isotope studies, we're able to know where the birds are coming from, and if we're able to connect the trends that we see in our count data to specific regions, and then go to those regions to look for problems.
An integral aspect of the Hawkwatch program is its educational outreach. Visitors get the chance to interact with scientists and see banded raptors up close.
There's two subspecies of peregrines, the tundra subspecies called tundrius, and the more southern continental species called anatum. And anatum birds, because they bred further south and were exposed more to environmental contaminants in agricultural areas, took a harder hit with the DDT, and so they declined really fast. In fact, they became, as breeding birds, extinct east of the Mississippi in the 70s. Tundra birds, because they bred up north of tree line, were only exposed to the agricultural chemicals on their wintering areas. So they managed to get through the DDT era in a little better shape. The tundria subspecies came off the endangered species list back in 1994, but the anatum subspecies came off only in 1999.
Typically, the raptors will land to gain control of their prey. However, this bird refused to land, rendering the bow net useless. Therefore, Casey switched strategies, luring the raptor to one of the mist nets. 2001 was Casey's fourth year of banding birds in the Florida Keys. Since then, he has caught an average of 300 birds each season, representing 10 different species. Some of those caught are already banded, in which case Casey reports the band number to the Bird Banding Laboratory in Maryland, which holds all records of banded birds. Sometimes Casey's birds are found by others. Some have been found as far away as Ontario, Canada.
Nice pointy wing shape of a falcon, peregrine falcon. And what's kind of neat to note is that this bird has a really white crown and forehead, which lets me know for sure that it probably was born somewhere north of tree line. Only the birds from the tundra have that white head. So this bird was born just a few months ago. Let me turn it around here. Born just a few months ago, probably fledged in June, and now it's on its way south and might be heading as far south as Argentina. How they do it, I don't know. If you look carefully while his mouth's open, you can see the little tooth in the upper mandible that fits into the notch in the lower part of the bill. It's called the tomial tooth. It's the tooth that peregrine falcons use to kill their prey. All falcons have that tooth. So they'll get a hold of their prey with these talons, but they won't squeeze them with the talons like an accipiter or a buteo, or most of the other hawks will pierce vital organs by squeezing with their talons. Peregrines will just subdue the prey with their feet and then bite it in the neck, severing the spinal cord. And that little tooth and notch fits right between the cervical vertebrae just for that purpose. Special adaptation of the falcons. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Raptors help maintain healthy and diverse ecosystems, regulating small animal populations through selective predation of sick and injured animals. Hawkwatch and the Florida Keys Raptor Migration Project promote the conservation of this important strand in the web of Mother Nature. Through sharing their data with land managers and conservation agencies, the project is helping to develop effective and sustainable land management policies for the future. The project is open for public visitation every year from September 15th to November 13th. To find out more about Hawkwatch programs, visit the World Wide Web at www.hawkwatch.org/keysmigration. Sharks are among the world's most successful groups of animals, inhabiting the seas for more than 400 million years. Of the 400 known species of sharks, most are at the top of the food chain. Thus, the impact they have on their marine environment is significant. Just as wolves and lions are essential in maintaining diversity in terrestrial ecosystems, researchers believe large sharks are essential in maintaining diversity in marine ecosystems.
Understanding sharks is really important to understanding marine communities in general. Because they're top predators, there are lots of different species that they can influence because, number one, those species might be scared of them and leave the area, or number two, they could eat so many that the populations are kept in check or kept lower. And we don't really know a whole lot right now about what role these sharks play in, say, maintaining the diversity of life out there. So it's really important we understand that so we can figure out what's likely to happen if we overfish the sharks or negatively impact shark populations.
Mike's interest in sharks began with tiger sharks in Western Australia. His work there generated evidence that these ferocious predators have a major impact on the inhabitants of the seagrass community.
So now what I want to do is I've come to Florida to work with Moat to see if this is a general result, if most large sharks are important predators like this, or if maybe it's something just peculiar to tiger sharks in Australia.
Mike has joined forces with Moat Marine Lab's Center for Shark Research to study hammerhead and bull sharks from the Moat Field Station in Summerland Key.
I've only been down here about 1 month, so I'm still really just getting to know this area, but it's really exciting being down here in the Keys because there's so many environments. You know, usually you go somewhere, you might go to a seagrass environment or a mangrove place, but here in the Keys we kind of got it all. We got the reefs, we got oceanic waters, we got these mangrove areas and shallow seagrass beds, then there's the Gulf of Mexico. And so we've got lots of different shark species and throughout all these environments. So to me, it's really exciting to be in an area with so many diverse habitats where different things could be going on in each one of them.
The first step in Mike's research is to locate sharks. Initial efforts outside the reef off Summerlin Key proved one thing: there are few, if any, sharks inhabiting those waters. So with tips from the local fishermen, the team traveled about 30 miles to the Gulf of Mexico to the famous Gulf wrecks.
Well, we're going to try a couple ways to catch sharks out there. The first thing we're going to do is use our standard method, and we call them drum lines. Basically what they are is a big concrete block with an eye bolt in it. We sink that down to the bottom. Off the eye we have a rope that's attached to buoys on the surface so we can find it again. And then at the bottom, around the shank of that eye bolt, is a shackle attached to about 100 feet of monofilament line. Hooks on the end of that monofilament. So the idea is the shark swims along, picks up the bait, gets hooked, then it swims in circles around that rig. And we don't want them to get tangled up or too tired out. We want to have fresh animals that are in really good shape that we can work with. Well, there's a bit of a chance that something else will grab the bait. The worst is crabs and little fish picking at it. We haven't ever caught something other than a shark, though, actually on the hook, which is good for us. We don't want anything else.
The whole idea of these drum lines is that you spread out the effort, spread out the hooks, so that you don't throw all your bang in one place, but you've got a hook here, hook there, hook there. You don't get a whole lot of animals this way, but you do get to sample many different areas. And if there's a bull shark over there, we'll get them. If there's one over there, we'll get them. And that's as opposed to something like a long line where you sort of throw all your hooks down in one area.
To increase their chances of finding a bull shark, the team also fish with the traditional rod and reel. Maximizing their search area, the team fishes the area surrounding the drum lines. But first, Mike and the others must catch some bait.
And this is just the bait.
After the bait is caught, the boat circles back to check the drum lines, which have been under for about 2 to 3 hours. The team's hope for a bull shark is crushed as Mike retrieves a limp fishing line. One of the lines is cut, indicating that a shark may have been hooked but still managed to get away. Determined, Mike rebaits the drum lines and sets them into the ocean, hoping for better luck. However, the day is more than half over, and the crew begins to wonder if bait is all there is to be caught today.
We weren't really trying to go out there and catch small sharks, but pretty quickly we started catching tons of these little black-nosed sharks. And you know, an animal about 4 feet long is full grown for them, so they're a lot smaller than the bull sharks, but they're really plentiful out here. And so what we decided to do, since we had them, was we'd tag a few of them.
With 3 black-nosed sharks tagged and the day almost over, Mike and his team steer toward the drum lines. The first and second lines surface with the bait untouched, and the despondent crew face the fact that it may be another day before they find a bull shark. However, as Mike retrieves the final line, he feels a familiar strength at the other end.
Oh yeah! Yes! All right! That's up, man.
When the shark is caught, the team tags the fish with a plastic marker called a rototag. This provides an identification number and phone number for future anglers to report. Mike also attaches an acoustic pinger to the dorsal fin. This pinger emits a signal that researchers can detect with a receiver up to a mile away.
Some of our previous work on tiger sharks has shown that if we have these methods, they can swim around while they're on the hook, they're not really that disturbed by being caught. Actually, if you look at where the hook goes through the mouth, if we re-catch these sharks maybe even 6 weeks later, you can't even tell they've been caught because they heal so quickly.
When the tagging is complete, measurements are taken and recorded. Then the shark is released.
Excellent! Yes! Yes!
Mike and the Mote Marine Labs research team head for shore. With one bull and many black-nosed sharks tagged, the trip was a success. More importantly, they now have evidence that bull sharks are living on the Gulf wrecks, and they know that others are likely close by. The data on the sharks will be added to the growing research by these scientists, attempting a better understanding of our marine ecosystems.